Hey everybody, David the AI Guide here, and hat tip to Kev Morris 3000 who asked a question, and we're going to answer that question today. So Kev Morris 3000 asks, how is AI used in my personal life already? Not for business, which I've talked a lot about, but how is it appearing in my personal life? And there's many ways it's already appearing, most of them invisibly to you. So let's break this down for us. The first way is in your home. Obviously, Alexa has an AI component, or Google Home has an AI component. So that's one way. Another way is certain smart thermostats, like the Nest, have an AI component. And usually all of these things are linked once you really get everything in place with AI. Another one is fridges. Now these are high-end refrigerators, right? But LG and Samsung have AI now, and all of their computers, and the AI is related to cameras on the inside of the fridge that scan all the food and let you know what you have or what you've run out of. And of course, then take Google Home, for example, with a Samsung fridge. It can order your food for you as soon as you run out. So this is pretty cool stuff, and it's going to get to be way, way more connected, particularly with TVs and music and basically everything you do in your house. Oh, one more thing that already has AI in it is your robot vacuum, if you have one of those. So that's a bunch of stuff already happening right now, with much more coming. And the much more is fully integrated, fully works together. And that's going to be pretty mind-blowing. By the way, going back to an AI conference a couple of years ago, I saw this, it's almost like a curtain, but it's a super thin screen that rolls up, and you can put it across a wall or your sliding glass door, and it'll display any scene in nature you want from anywhere. So that's another thing that'll be AI controlled once those become more commonplace. But again, they already exist. So many, many things already exist and are in use. A lot of this stuff is at a relatively high price point right now, right? But as it becomes more and more common, just like everything else with electronics, it's going to get cheaper and cheaper. So that's one. Two, do you go to the doctor? Well, yes, everyone goes to the doctor. And now it is highly likely that the computer system that your doctor's office uses, unless you go to a very small practice, is AI enabled. And the purpose of that is twofold. One is it looks for commonalities in terms of disease outbreak that it sees with patients coming in to see the doctor. And we'd already talked about Harvard Health rolling this out to admit you to their medical practice. You get interviewed by an AI with your temperature taken and all that. Go to the doctor, yes. Do you need an X-ray or a CAT scan? We've talked about that before. Very, very likely now that those are read not by humans, but by AIs. Why? Because they're way faster and way more accurate. So the radiologist is becoming more oriented towards making sure that the scans are properly taken and all that, and less, very quickly, at actually reading them. So that's another way. Healthcare AI rolling out sort of in its infancy compared to where it's going to be. We've talked about that. Full AI-driven robotic surgery coming 5 years max, I'm going to say. It's going to be pretty soon, 5 to 10, but closer to the 5 than the 10. So that's medical. Do you have certain kind of cars that have a partial or full self-driving system? Well, then that's another area. It's already in your life in your self-driving car. And transportation, we've already covered transportation, medical, all around your home. And one thing that is really starting to gel and will be rolled out very, very quickly over the next 5 years that people will be using is an AR overlay for your glasses. So if you wear glasses, you will have an AR that'll tell you every building you're looking at, what it is, what's inside of it. It'll give you directions if you're walking around a city, where to go. You won't need your phone anymore for that. In fact, once these AR-enabled glasses really roll out, the cell phone will be in jeopardy at that point because it'll be voice command enabled most likely. And so this is going to be the next wave of technological change, and it's tied to the 5G rollout, which has already started, of course, but is mostly not done yet, but it is around. 5G is at a different frequency, but the back office is AI enabled now. The same with most likely the electric utility that you get your power from at home. They're using AIs to monitor their facilities and tell them when it's time to do maintenance or repair, or if something just needs to be flat out replaced due to its age. So there's so many areas where AI is already out. Most of it, though, is sort of invisible. It's behind the scenes. But the next phase is going to be very, very visible. In one of my recent videos, I talked about what's going on in robotics, which is astounding. So I said to you, look at a 2-year-old Boston Dynamics robot video from 2 years ago, and look at the one they just put out last week. Mind-blowing improvements. And I've said this before, that robots are going to become ubiquitous and you will see them everywhere in the relatively near future. And as I mentioned, there's a weird one that follows you around in Stop and Shop, where I do some of my grocery shopping, and that one is AI enabled already. So, but we're talking in fast food places and well down the road restaurants and stuff like that. There's going to be huge changes in terms of service industries. And why is that important? Well, we just learned during COVID-19 that with humans, a lot of times you have to shut down or lock down or no inside dining and all that stuff, but it's all robot. If it's all robots, then you don't have to worry about that. You only have to worry about the customers, not the workers working there. Other ways that AI is already in your life is search. When you search for something on your phone or computer, those search results now are AI driven. So there's quite a bit of stuff. And thank you, Kev Morris 3000, for the question. I really appreciate it. I will be answering questions with videos just like this one. If you like this, please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter as well. And very, very shortly, we're going to start doing interviews with people actually working in AI to give you an inside view on the cutting edge. Thanks a lot. Take care. Bye.